here with. It's
Hello.
Carrie with, I guess I'm going to say Healing Humanity because that's what you
Yes.
put down there. But yes.
I need to change my YouTube name over once and for all, but yeah, thank you.
Yes. And that is such a good name. So I love it so much. Yeah. Thank you for agreeing to sit down with me because I know how busy you are. But I definitely appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I was looking forward to talking to you more. I know we've talked briefly. We did like a live stream for a little bit, but it's going to be nice to sit down and do a dedicated video for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I kind of know your carnivore journey story and the medicine you were on and the things you've healed and all of that. So, I mean, feel free to weave that in, but I'm kind of curious, what are like the top 5 things, or if you don't have five, you probably have more than 5, but the top 5 things that you've done since going carnivore that you probably would never have done before going carnivore?
Oh, that's a good question, Cristie. Number one, this like live streams and YouTube. I did YouTube for many years before this, but I always had just horrible depression and particularly anxiety talking to people. I would avoid phone calls and interactions with people at all costs. So that's definitely one big thing. Exercise is another one. I lost most of my weight before I ever did any exercise. Or in other words, I didn't exercise to lose the weight. I only started exercising once I lost the weight and felt healthier, like a proper human. So I need to do more exercise, by the way. When it was warmer out, I was getting out every morning. I get out every now and then, but not as much as I should be. But I'm definitely exercising way more now than I have before. Um, Making friends, so many friends with people.
So cool.
It's, you know, we talk about like the Healing Humanity. You mentioned it's a cool name. I appreciate that. There's several ways you could take healing humanity, healing an individual, but one of my biggest things, the realization I had recently, I believe like before I was on carnivore, I was in such a brain fog and fatigue simply because my brain just couldn't keep up with what it needed to be doing. I learned this from Dr. Eid. We had a big live stream yesterday, and she was telling us the brain is so power hungry. It requires so much energy to function. And when you're putting the wrong fuel in, you get inflammation, but you're just not giving it enough fuel. So it does everything it can to just basically coast along and do the bare minimum. And so I think that's when I'm talking about healing humanity, I think that's a big thing. I really honestly feel like before carnivore, I was impaired, almost like I was intoxicated or like walking around slightly drunk my whole life, but that was kind of the normal. Like I was slurring and stammering and couldn't find my words, and just my cognitive ability, my organizational skills, work, everything sort of suffered because of it. And I feel like, sadly, most Americans that are on the SAD diet, the standard American diet, are kind of walking around with that brain fog. And it's so sad because they're not interacting, they're not making friends, things like that. So I'm sorry, I'm giving you a very long, drawn out answer, but making
Oh, it's all
friends has
good.
definitely changed on carnivore. And I feel like it's because I have the energy to do it now. I didn't have it before. Before, I was just do the bare minimum and sit on the couch and just try to get through the day. I didn't have the energy to make connections with people and friendships with people. So that's definitely been a big one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so that was 3.
Okay, 4 would be so this was your question was things that I'm doing now that I didn't do before.
Yes.
Working way more than I ever have my entire life. Someone just mentioned in the chat, I just got off another live stream. It was kind of last minute, but we're feeding our dogs carnivore now. We've been doing it for about 2 months. Shout out Larry, Carnivore Soldier. He gave me some really good tips and advice, and he's got a great video on his channel on getting into it more. But Jen and I, we didn't run out of food, but it was getting close. So I was like, let's just do it real quick before my live stream with Cristie. So we just did that before, like stuff like that. Like I've been working since 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm on hour 13 now, which isn't like a big thing, but compared to before, that's a big thing for me. Before this, I would have been falling asleep on the couch right now. So I guess that would be 4. Number 5. Let me think of a really good one for you. What am I doing differently now? I just I'm so much here's the big one. I talked about the brain fog and stuff like that, but I'm not trying to overhype things. This is the truth. This is why I'm so passionate about carnivore, but I feel like I'm really living and I'm alive. I'm fulfilling my potential as a human being. which
Mm.
I never have before. Again, before I was just kind of dragging around, but now it's not like I'm just flatlined. You know, I had such horrible depression. I was on so many different antidepressants for years and years. I would have given anything to just I don't want to be depressed anymore. Just give me a baseline flatline. But now as a carnivore, and it's getting better more and more. I am the opposite of whatever that hopeless depression was. I'm happy. I'm excited. I like jump out of bed. I'm excited for filming the documentary. I'm excited for talking to you, Cristie. I'm excited spreading the word about carnivore. The movie theater my wife and I run, I'm excited about that. So I feel like I'm living life to my fullest potential, hopes and dreams and goals and things I'm going after. And I never really did that before. I was just kind of coasting through life before this.
Wow. You know what's so funny is I kind of thought of that question. I thought that's a really good question. I should probably answer it myself. I think you sneaked a peek at my list, Carrie, because you named, I think, 4 out of 5 on your list matched.
Give me another one. I was just going to turn it around on you, Cristie, because I was like, that was a very good question. What do
Right.
you got? Even though I answered
Okay.
some of
So,
yours.
yeah. So you did. I mean, it was like right on, like YouTube channel. Who the heck even am I? Right. Like putting myself out there on YouTube. My channel is obviously small compared to yours, but it's big enough now. I'm getting some like not nice comments. But you know what? Like in the past, I would have been like, oh, people don't like me. Like it would have stressed me out. I would have been anxious about it. You know, just move on, right? That part is so much easier. But yeah, going live like this in front of who knows how many people, like I'm not nervous at all, like doing any of that. That I just wouldn't have even thought to do it. But I heard you challenge some of us to do it, Carrie. So I want to thank you for inspiring
You're
me.
welcome and sorry.
Yeah, it's you inspired me to do it. I never thought. I mean, I literally never pushed the record button on a video camera or phone, like the record button in my life until I started this channel. Because if anyone was videoing like Christmas or something at our house, my husband did it. So I just never did it. So I had to learn all the things, even how to make a video, much less edit one.
Well,
Um,
you're killing it. You really are. And I'm not just saying that
oh,
to flatter. You're doing a great job. I love it. You got great composition. You got great storytelling, everything. Anyone that's watching from my channel, shout out. I have a link to Meeting Wellness in the description below. Go subscribe for sure.
well, thank you. I was thinking about I just got channel memberships active, Carrie, and I was thinking about attempting, I might fail, but attempting to give some channel memberships away. So if
Yeah.
you're not watching on my channel, you can still watch on Carrie's channel. Just open another tab, go watch on my channel. And if I can figure it out in a few minutes, I'm going to attempt to give some memberships away tonight.
Nice.
Um, but anyway, so yes, doing this, I mean, I know you said it too, but I elaborated because this is not something I would have done. I for sure identified as a full on introvert. Like I didn't want to look at another person. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be just, by myself all the time. And I don't think I still think I am an introvert, but I think really what that means is, you go out, you interact like we're interacting right now. And then after this, I just might need some downtime, but then you know what I'm saying? Like I can go back out and do it again. Whereas before it was like, I just don't even want to go to work. I have to. And then I'll, come home and just like sit on my couch alone. Don't talk to me. I'm closed, like even to my family. Right. And I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm just an introvert. No. Like, yeah, I was all full of brain fog, anxiety. It didn't want anything to do with anybody. So for me doing this is just totally out of my old, character, and the way that I would have behaved. So another one is exercise. So I live in Southern California, so I don't have your problems weather wise. Although I will say I do sprinting and I really enjoy it. And I go out early in the morning when it's like 40 degrees, like in a tank top, and that's as close as I'm getting to a cold plunge, Mr. Carry Man. I mean, it's not gonna probably happen. I'm not gonna say never, but it's pretty cold.
Right.
But yes, I do sprint. I've recently started lifting some weights after interviewing Coach Bronson, so he got me. You can't talk to him without being inspired to pick up something heavy, So I started doing that, and that's been fantastic. As far as like talking to people and like reaching out to people. So my good friend Ellie at Nourishment Redacted, I believe she's watching right now. She had her channel before I had mine, and I was just like, hey, I really like your channel. Do you want to like jump on a Zoom call and we can like talk? And now we have our Tuesday live stream, Lioness Lifestyle, focusing on women's health and meat-based eating. because I reached out. Like I would never have reached out. I would have like hidden and hoped that someone didn't reach out to me. And if they did, I would be like, okay, how can I avoid this without seeming like a jerk? You know, I certainly would not be the one reaching out, right?
Right.
So I've also started doing more things with my students. So like I instituted at my school. So we did it today. I call it, our mascot is the wolves. So I call it Walking Wolf Wednesday. So I go out on my lunch hour, which I don't have to volunteer my lunch hour. And we do 2 ginormous laps around the whole school. So like today we walked and jogged together. Just they're like, does this count as PE? I'm like, no. Do we have to do it? No, it's your lunchtime. You can do what you want. But I had like 50 kids like doing laps with me, you know, at lunchtime. So I just did some extra jogging just because like, yeah, no, I would have hated that. I would have not given up my lunchtime. I would have been too tired. I need to sit here quietly and nobody talk to me while I have my 45-minute, you know, duty-free lunch or whatever.
Right.
So, and then I went in, drank a little bone broth and got back to my day, you know, so it was, that was great. And I think I'm the teacher because of that kind of stuff that the kids are going to remember. You know what I'm saying? So they're not going to remember that I taught them how to do long division or add fractions when they're my age, you know, 48. But they're going to remember that teacher with all the energy that would come out at lunch and work with them on their, you know, because they have to do a physical fitness test, you know, for the state of California this year. They're going to remember that they asked for help with their volleyball or you want to play handball or that kind of stuff that we do together now that I just never had the energy to do before, you know? And you know, my number 5 is, I challenged my doctor. So I would have never challenged my doctor. It would have been like, oh, you need me to take this medicine? Okay, I will take that medicine. Like I never had the perspective that maybe the medicine wasn't going to fix anything. It was, oh, well, I have this problem. Doctor said this medicine. Okay, let's take that medicine. So I went carnivore. I decided maybe I should have some blood work because I don't know, curiosity. I really haven't had any. I found out that I'm a lean mass hyperresponder, which means my LDL is like so high. It just says greater than 350. It doesn't even have a number. Triglycerides, HDL, fantastic. Ratio, fantastic. Everything else looking great. But yeah, she wanted me on a statin yesterday. She must have called me 4 times and I was like, nope. And she was like, I'm very worried about you. She was like, are you going to like fall over right in front of me? But it didn't even occur to me to, at this point to say, yeah, go ahead and prescribe me that statin. Not at all. I think I'm the first carnivore she's ever met. I'm sorry she had to meet a lean mass hyperresponder for her first one. I feel like maybe that wasn't the best introduction.
Right. Threw her for all sorts of loops.
Right. Because she's a standard American doctor, right? She's trained in that way through the way the education of doctors is, and maybe doesn't, hasn't had time to look into all this stuff. But yeah, she was like, wait, you don't have any fruit? I'm like, no. You don't have any vegetables? No. And she's like, fascinating. Like she didn't know what to make of me. I think she thought I was an alien. And then when my blood numbers came back, she was like, this isn't good for you,
Yeah.
So even though my A1C was fantastic, fasting insulin, fantastic, 2 tests, which I had to request, by the way, she wasn't going to run them. She said, you're slim. Why do I need to run them? I don't run them on my patients unless they're overweight. And I said, just run them, please.
Right.
And I never would have said that before. I would have said, oh, you don't run them? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's not run them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, I was the same way. Every doctor I went to, I'm like, this guy's gone to college for what, 8 years or longer or something? Whatever they say, I'm doing. They know better than I do. But I believe most doctors mean well. But in retrospect, if I would have done the opposite of what most of my doctors told me, I would have been so much better off. That's one of the biggest things with the documentary. It's like, if people don't take away, like eating the proper human diet is important. I wish one thing that we could change in the world is that when you go to the doctor, they ask you, what did you eat? They never asked me that. And almost every one of my issues was simply from what I was eating. So many doctor's appointments over my life. My daughter too, that had so many as well. And in every one of those cases, it was just the food we were eating, but they never talk about it. And those statins are I was on statins for quite a while, many years as well. It's kind of scary how much they push the statins with the evidence for their effectiveness. I know I've heard, I think Dr. Barry or some others talk about, like Dr. Chafee's mentioned it too. If you take them like every day for the rest of your life or something and you never miss a dosage, it'll give you 5 extra days on your life or something crazy like that.
Yes.
And then we don't know necessarily what the side effects are. Um,
Yes.
for that
Did
type
you?
of minimal benefit, but the amount of huge push, I hear it over and over again where people are just like insisting, you gotta go on this statin, like it's life or death, but
Mhm,
then you get
mhm.
that little result there that's questionable at best. So
Yeah. So when you were on those statins, I've never heard you necessarily like list out all. I've seen you hold up your giant pill box of all the medicines. I'm not sure if I knew that one of those was a statin. Did you notice any side effects? Any like extra? I mean, I know you already had brain fog, so like maybe not. I'm just curious.
honestly, I couldn't isolate one to the statins, but I was on so much medication. A lot of
Mm,
those pills I was on at one time, I was on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicine, medicine to help me sleep. I was on omazepam for acid reflux. I was on another medicine they gave me for IBS. I guess it was supposed to calm my stomach down. I was on statin. I was on some at one point too. I was on, I think it was like some sort of steroid for the inflammation I had in my foot.
hmm,
So I couldn't pinpoint it. The only thing I could know is I felt like garbage all the time. And in retrospect, oh, it's so frustrating because I'm even like the heartburn medicine, the omazepam I was taking. I took that stuff for years,
mhm.
and after years, I still had heartburn and acid reflux, and now I don't take it, and I don't have any. So it's like, shouldn't the pills like shouldn't I? Why do I have to keep refilling these prescriptions? Shouldn't they fix the problem? I just kept foolishly taking them, and they never even fixed it. I guess in my head, I'm like, maybe it could be worse if I stopped. I don't, but I still have the problem I went there with. It's just
Right.
insane.
Yeah, for sure. I've never really liked going to the doctor. I'm very sure that if I went more, I would have been put on more medication because I mean, looking back, I probably had like a low grade depression, for sure anxiety, for sure social anxiety, but I didn't know, right, until it went away and then I was like, "Oh, holy cow," you know. But I did have what's called interstitial cystitis, which is like a bladder inflammation. I mean, the doctor won't tell you that's what it is, but I think that's pretty much what it is. And it kind of feels like you have a urinary tract infection all the time. And so this was years ago, and they put me on this medication called, I think it's Elmiron or Elmiron. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They don't even prescribe it anymore, Carrie, because it causes blindness. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm thankful I didn't go blind from that. But I clearly remember, clear as day, when I was prescribed it and I was so miserable with these symptoms, that she said, oh, this is one of the safest medications there is. There's like one side effect. You might have some hair loss, end of side effects. It may not help you. It helps about 2/3 of patients, but you're not gonna, I mean, the worst you're gonna maybe see is some hair loss because I asked about that. But, you know, since approving that medicine and since giving it to all of us, then they discovered, oh, wait a minute. And so, yeah, nobody, you could Google it later, but it causes blindness and they don't really prescribe it anymore.
Mm,
They told me to change my diet, but they gave me a whole list of foods. I don't even remember what they were. They weren't necessarily saying don't eat meat. It was just like, I don't know, a bunch of random foods, probably that people reported made them feel worse. I'm not really sure. But since going and you know, I will say that my symptoms did improve to the point that I stopped taking the medicine, but it wasn't perfect. But it was like, okay, I'm not going to take this medicine anymore because I don't like taking medicine. But since going carnivore, I have had no flare ups, nothing. Like my bladder is calm,
nice.
which is awesome. So that's like my one little, you know, medication story, you know, that I have with going this way. But so a lot of people talk about the carnivore community and how amazing it is, right? And I hear that just like over and over and over. In fact, Who's Your Carnivore put up, if I can find it here, this. None of us would have ever met if not for carnivore. Our lives are enriched by so much more than just ribeyes.
Yeah, shout out Brett. Who's your
Yeah,
carnivore?
Who's Your Carnivore? He's got a great channel. And I agree with that 100%. I started my YouTube channel and then just started reaching out to carnivores. And now I like have this little network of, you know, friends and acquaintances inside. One of them is here, Fred, Flying with Eagles. He's got a brand new channel. I'm going to be interviewing him in a few days.
Nice.
He's a really nice guy. I think he's like 72 years old. He started carnivore, and I can't wait to hear, like, at that stage of life. I don't really know much about his experience, but I'm excited to hear about it. And he just became a member. So thank you so much, Fred. Um, so I was just wondering, what do you think is like the best part maybe of the carnivore community, and what do you feel is your role?
Yeah. Oh, another good question. I totally agree with you and Brett. Carnivore community is amazing. And again, I always try to be careful with my words. I don't know. Someone taught me a long time ago. You always got to be honest. It's important not to just flatter for the sake of flattering, but I truly believe the carnivore community is amazing. I've been doing YouTube videos for maybe 9 years now. And up until 300 days ago, it was all homesteading videos or small business videos, things like that, little cooking videos. Nothing against the homesteading crowd, but it was nothing. It was nothing like this. It's
Mm,
I've tried to figure this out. I even asked Dr. Chafee, I think at one point, like, what is going on here? There's something different going on here. And at one point, my theory was like, in order to be a carnivore, you have to kind of be brave. You got to go against the grain, against the social norm. So maybe that's why all other carnivores seem cool, because they have that in their personality, the ability to be brave. But then as I was thinking about it more, I think a big part of it is what we were talking about earlier is you get rid of that brain fog and you have that energy. You have the energy and you want to make these connections. I don't want to harp on it too much, but it's just what you said earlier was pretty remarkable, Cristie. Just the fact that you're doing stuff and you're interacting with people that you never would have done and you would have avoided before. It's not special to you or me. I hear that probably thousands of times from so many people. And just to think that literally the majority of humanity right now is not doing that. And it's actually going in the opposite direction. As we have all this social media, we're supposedly so connected now, yet I was just hearing something like the loneliness stats are through the roof right now. We've never been more connected with technology, yet we're lonelier than we've ever been. So it's just, I think that has something to do with it. But yeah, the carnivore community is just absolutely amazing. So supportive. The thing that's incredible too is even these doctors, um, you could consider them influencers, or they're doing this for YouTube or whatever. It's just it hasn't been true. I always, ever since I've had so many bad experiences with my own doctors that were just giving me the medicine and not none of it ever helped me, I really questioned those things. So like when I started watching Dr. Barry, I'm like, what is this guy selling? What is he doing? Yes, he's got a big YouTube channel, and I suppose that you could argue he's doing it for that, but there's no way he's doing it for that. I've seen Dr. Barry go on people's YouTube channels that have like 100 subscribers. There's literally no motivation for him to do that other than he's a good guy trying to get the word out. And I've seen the same over and over again. Dr. Chafee, private phone calls with Bill from Alaska, just off the record to help him out, just out of the kindness of his heart. It's like every single carnivore I have met has been incredible. They're just awesome. They're just open and they want to make connections. And yeah, I think a big part of it is having that energy. But I don't know. Whatever it is, I love it. It's so good too, because when you're doing something like this, to be able to have a community, I've there's different coaching groups. I'm in Dr. Barry's group, Bella's Steak and Butter Gang. I've heard nothing but amazing things from what they're
mm,
doing over there. But I was really cynical when I started carnivore. I'm like, what do I need to go for a group? I'm just gonna eat steak and salt and drink water. What do I need a group for? And I've since completely changed my mind on that. I think the reason those are so important is because as carnivores, we're so alone. We're living in a world of sugar and junk food. You can't go to a family event. You can't do anything without people eating junk food and thinking we're the crazy ones. So having that amazing community that we can go to, whether it's cool for us, Cristie, because we have the YouTube channel and we got people coming through in the comments. That's awesome. But talking to other people, commenting, these good doctors, yeah, it's amazing. I'm so thankful for it. It's really like it keeps me going too. I'll say this too. It's the community, and then also the people that are just starting carnivore recently did. I'm getting so many comments from people. I don't know if it's because they resonate with my story or what, but I'm so thankful for them. But I get so many comments from people where they're just basically, it's like their life story. Like, I did carnivore 30 days ago. I saw your video. It's changed my life forever. And it's like they just want to get this off their chest. They just want to be
mm,
heard. They feel like I did. Like they've been kind of told the wrong information most of their life and they kind of want to share it, but it definitely keeps me motivated. I only ever intended to do the one video on my 30-day update and then go back to doing homesteading videos. But when you see this kind of change and this kind of success for people, and there's so many hopeless people in the world right now, it's hard not to be fired up about it. But yeah, I absolutely love the carnivore community.
Yeah, I find that if I post anything that is, I don't know, like a little bit of a struggle, the next thing I know, I've got all these comments like, oh, I experienced that too. And they're like just encouraging, or I'll even get, text on my phone because I've exchanged numbers with a few people, other YouTubers and things. And it's like, they're just like right there because I don't know any other carnivores in real life. Like I'm it. My mom, so I first went keto in February and I started losing weight right away. And my mom saw that and she thought she probably wanted to lose a little weight too. And so she followed me, like I think in early April. And she's still doing that. So she's still heavy meat based keto, but like she got her Dr. Berry education via Meeting Wellness, right? Because I'm like, watch all the Dr. Berry. And then I was like, okay, mom, here's what you got to do. But she's lost 25 pounds. And do you want to know where she is right now, Carrie? In Greece, because she took a flight to Greece today.
Wow.
And that's where she is. And she's 71. So
wow.
when I'm telling you that she's expanded literally her world, she walks more than I do as far as steps and all this stuff now. Her arthritis is gone in her hands that she used to have. And she wasn't like taking medication, but it's like she has all this energy. Like no one can believe she's 71. She's helping all of her neighbors because she lives like in a senior community. She like pulls all their weeds for them and stuff like that, right? And she's like, I can get down on the ground, pull weeds, and then stand up like it's nothing, And so, I mean, good for her. She's succeeding on that, For me, keto succeeded. I was able to lose weight on keto, but I still had cravings. I still had to exercise some self-control. I was very used to doing that though, from my life as a yo-yo dieter. But yeah, when I went carnivore, it's like, that's the last part of that went away, right? Like I don't crave anything except give me a good ribeye or a piece of picanha any day. That's what I want. I don't want sweet things, or I don't have things from the kitchen. Things are in there because my husband doesn't eat this way, And until recently, my kids didn't either. And so all their things are in there. My older son still is standard American. He's 18. So he's technically an adult. He has a car, a driver's license. He has money,
Right.
So anyways, all of their stuff is in the house, but it's fine. Like it doesn't even factor into my life. It's not a thing I don't have to think about. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I don't want it. It's pretty cool.
Shout out Cristie's mom. Ellie just said that. I agree. That's so cool.
Yeah. Shout out my mom. Oh, dang it. The comments go so fast. Okay, there we go.
I love hearing that. I have a similar story. My mom started carnivore. Man, I'm going to screw the time up pretty early on when I did. And I'm on day like 320 right now. And it's very similar to what you just said, Cristie. She's just thriving. And then my stepdad did it too. He's lost a whole bunch of weight. Huge fan of Dr. Anthony Chafee too, by the way. He's following all these YouTubers, but it's the same thing. All of their peers that see them, they're like, what is going on? You guys are incredible. I love hearing that because my grandfather worked his whole life and then had a massive stroke, and he lived through the stroke, but he was paralyzed. The whole right side of his body was paralyzed. Just imagine working your whole life and then having that. But even if that doesn't happen, you see so many people, they hit 70 or they hit 60 or even younger than that. Now it seems to be getting younger and younger, and they have all these mobility issues and arthritis and aches and pains. That's one of been the most fun on my channel. I don't know. Shout out Carnivore Ron. He's in the chat. We did a video early on together, and I got so many comments after that from folks that were 60, 70, 80 years old doing carnivore. Some of them doing it for years. It just blew my mind. In my head, I'm like, if I was like 80, I'd be like stuck in my ways. I'm not going to switch to meat, but I hear so many stories from that, and they're all the same too. All these individuals tell me, they're like, all my peers they're arthritic and they're inflamed and they're bent over and they have mobility issues, and I don't. And I really think it's a big part of it. Sure, you're going to slow down when you get older, but I think the huge component in that is just what they're eating, causing inflammation, causing all sorts of issues.
Yeah, she has people, asking her for rides, asking her for, help. A couple people have been hospitalized. She's gone and cleaned out their fridge so stuff didn't go, rotten while they were there. And so she's doing all this stuff. She's perfectly healthy. Like I said, now she's in Greece. She's going on, it's like something with a church where it's like the missionary journey of Paul, and you like follow that. I'm like,
Oh,
that is so cool.
yes, that's awesome.
To
We got
get
to
to
get
do
mom a
this.
YouTube channel. All right, I got to stop.
Seriously, I'm like, I
Let
gotta
her
at
let
least
her
get her
have
on
fun in
Lioness.
Greece.
I at least got to get her on Lioness with me, so she can. It now it just comes through me. My mom, blah blah blah, right? And I'll just sing all the praises. But
Right?
we need to get it from her mouth. So I did give away 5 memberships, and Ellie got one. So Ellie says,
Yay.
"Thank you, Cristie, for the membership gift. You are welcome."
Yeah, everyone get a membership. I don't know if you know this, Cristie. I I I think this is a new feature, but on YouTube now, if you have members, Cristie, you can launch a video that the members see first, and then you can set a
Yes,
time frame, like 24 hours
yes,
later, everyone else gets it. So that's a cool perk for the memberships for sure. Um,
yes.
I'm gonna start doing that on my channel. We do like a members only live stream every Thursday as well. So I'm trying to do more of that. And then when we're filming the documentary, we do a lot of just insider stuff for members only pictures. So speaking of that, next precisely 1 week from today, I'm going to be in Tennessee filming Dr. Barry for the documentary. So
Oh, this was one of my questions. Okay, we're gonna skip to that question right now since you brought it up.
yeah,
So yeah, my question had to, and I know you can't share like content, like I get that, but for the documentary Healing Humanity, what have been some of like the biggest challenges that you've run up against while trying to do that? And then like what interviews? I mean, okay, I have multiple questions within this topic. So let's just
yeah,
start there. We'll let you talk about that.
yeah. Oh, another great question. Okay, so the biggest challenge with the documentary is people keep asking me, like my dad included, is it done yet? And it's like we're kind of just getting started, considering we're following folks around for a year. Bill is at 6 months right now. We want to follow him around for a year. So he's got 6 months just before he's finished, let alone finished filming. And then a lot of people don't realize, I think, what goes into making a documentary. You got to film it, you got to color grade it, you got to work on the sound, you got to edit it all together. So it's a big process. The
Mhm.
biggest challenge for me, and I'm so thankful, grateful, blessed to be able to do any of this. So I'm not complaining, but it's juggling all of it because
Mm.
it has, and I thank goodness for everyone that's been helping. We have a lot of volunteers that have been helping, some folks on the channel. Adam from Carnivore Today has been awesome. He's going to film Dr. Barry with me. He went and filmed Jeff DeProsperous and Tony Hampton and Maggie with me as well. But for
Mhm.
me, like getting this whole thing started and even working on it now, it's so much work, and we're getting so many generous donations when we sell the shirts. When people sign up for memberships, every penny goes to the documentary, which is great, but I don't take any of that to pay myself. So a lot of people don't realize that, or I don't know if they think I'm just like rich. I'm not rich. I don't have any money, so I'm still doing all of my other stuff while I'm trying to do the documentary. So it's really been juggling. I'm doing the YouTube channel. My wife and I have a dog kennel. We bought our small town movie theater a year ago. We have an Airbnb rental. I have a website business where I do website marketing. We have an Amazon business where we film products for Amazon companies. So that's been the biggest challenge, is juggling all of those things. The documentary is the most important thing. It's really become my passion, my mission, my goal in life is to spread this word to millions of people through the documentary. But juggling all of that's been a challenge. But we're getting it done, and I have so many people that are helping, and Adam's helping too. So uh,
Mhm.
yeah. In terms of, what was the other question? Like what incredible or interesting things that have come about filming and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, you've done some, well, because you mentioned Dr. Barry, so I was gonna ask you who's up next on your interview. Oh, just a little guy named Dr. Barry. Okay,
Yeah.
had that
Hey,
already. But
I hate to name drop, but Dr. Barry's changed so many lives. I don't know that I would have started Carnivore without Dr. Barry. I found Carnivore through Dante from Frigno Freedom. I thought the
okay.
guy was crazy, Dante, and then I watched Dr. Barry videos, and then I was like, Dr. I was trying to justify just everyone's crazy and I'm the normal one. But I don't think I would have started if it wasn't for good doctors like Dr. Barry. I would have just excused my way out of it and said, no, these individuals are all crazy. So I was fortunate. I did a live stream with Dr. Barry, and I had him on our 24-hour live stream as well. But haven't met him in person yet, so I'm super excited. This is the crazy thing, Cristie. We were talking before. Normally, I would have been terrified. I would have been so
Mhm.
anxious about this. I have no anxiety. I have just excitement. I'm so thankful and grateful for the opportunity. I can't wait to do it. So yeah, we're doing that exactly 1 week from today. But other than that, like what else has been exciting? When my daughter Emma, who's also a carnivore, when we flew out to film Bill Knott in Alaska, that was
Mm.
what kicked all of this off. That was just incredible. I mean, Emma and I, it was incredible that I had the opportunity to go with Emma and do that. It was incredible that I got to meet Bill. But then just his story, and I don't have to hype up Bill. Everyone loves Bill. I meet people and they don't ask about me. They ask about Bill, which is awesome because he's just such a cool guy, such
Yeah.
a sweet guy. I got to meet him in person, and that was just incredible. When Emma and I were driving to his house, I said to Emma, I'm like, what the heck are we doing? 3 weeks ago, I didn't know who this guy was. For people that
Yeah.
don't know this, Bill commented on one of my YouTube videos. He said, I'm 700 pounds. I'm stuck in Alaska. Meat's expensive. I want to do this carnivore diet. I think I'm going to die if I don't change my life right now. And then I responded to his comment and he never responded back. That happens with YouTube sometimes. They just go off into the ether. I kept checking every day, like respond. I'm like, I want to help you. We can get you set up on a YouTube channel. Just like I tell you, Cristie, and everyone else, like, do a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Um, he never answered. Long story short, I was like, 2 weeks went by or something. I created a whole video, and in the thumbnail, I said 700-pound Bill from Alaska. I didn't have his picture. I put a random picture of a big guy on the thumbnail, hoping to get Bill's attention. And a couple hours later, he happened to see the video and he called me on the phone. And yeah, 3 weeks later, I was out in Alaska filming him. It's just he's incredible. There's some sort of, he always uses the word providence, but I really feel like he's a brother. We have some sort of connection or something like that. But we filmed him, which was amazing. Alaska was beyond beautiful. You can't, I keep telling people I'm so blessed I was able to go to Alaska. We didn't have much time to vacation or enjoy it. We were just filming the whole time, but
Yeah.
you can't take a picture even with this Netflix camera we have. It doesn't do Alaska justice. It is
Mhm.
just so beautiful, so inspiring. So I can't wait to go back and do that. The other incredible thing was filming Maggie in Canada, 82-year-old carnivore. She's been eating the proper human diet for 60 years. Unbelievable. I am like, I can't show the footage yet, but I want to show it so bad. It's just
Right?
her words too, her story, her energy. I had to just, Adam and I had to keep reminding ourselves that she's not like a 30 or 40-year-old. She had the demeanor. She's like a 30-year-old. I can't even say she's a 30-year-old trapped in an 80-year-old body because she's ripped. She
Mhm.
flexed for us on camera. So you guys will see that in the documentary.
Oh, I
She's
can't wait.
absolutely ripped. Like she could pick me up and carry me across the field, and her wisdom, she shared so much with us that it was just on another level. Yeah, sorry, I could talk forever. Dr. Hampton,
No,
we
that's
filmed
awesome.
him with two Netflix cameras. This was like when we film the individuals like Bill, a lot of it's almost running around, run and gun with the camera. You get what you get. It was hard with Bill because we're in a little house. We couldn't move him around. But when we filmed Dr. Hampton, it's the best work ever. Huge shout out to Adam Carnivore today. He's so good at what he does. The composition, the lighting. Like we rented an Airbnb and we set it up. It was legit like a movie studio with multiple lights, cameras, audio equipment. We had a camera on a gimbal, this little
Mhm.
slider thingy. So I can't wait to share that with people. Last but not least, shout out Jeff DeProsperous, changing my life forever. What an inspiration. Jeff found me when we did that 24-hour live stream. He sent me a little video.
Yes, I
And
saw it.
yeah, we were never going to have cancer in the documentary. I just, frankly, I didn't know enough about it.
Mhm.
And frankly, I'm like, we have so much content for the documentary when we're talking about obesity, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disorders, women's health, cancer. Now we have cancer added to it, but we had all these issues. It's like this documentary, in order to do each of those justice, it's going to be 8 hours long. But when I started learning more about cancer, and I had an interview with Professor Thomas Seyfried, and it really opened my eyes. Like I knew carnivore was powerful, or eating the proper human diet was powerful for obesity. And then I learned about type 2 diabetes. Then I learned about heart disease and autoimmune disorders. And then cancer came into it. I'm like, what carnivore just like heals everything. I've since learned it doesn't really heal everything. It's just that's what proper humans would be. We wouldn't have all of these chronic diseases if we were just eating the proper human diet. But seeing Jeff, I can't wait to share his footage. Everyone's seen Jeff. They seen him on some of the live streams. Well, I spent a week with him. I could barely keep up with him. He
Mhm.
is just incredible, and he is truly living life to its fullest potential. He's present in the moment, living in the moment with his kids, and just his energy is just crazy. And as everyone knows, he's on a journey to be cancer free, diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. But what's put that aside, he's doing chemo that wipes everyone out. Put that
Mhm.
aside. He's going 5 days without eating. He's done that almost 40 times, maybe over 40 times now. I'm losing track. He won't eat for 5 days in a row. He'll get chemo. And we saw him after that, 2 days after that. He's running around on the soccer pitch. He's in the gym lifting weights. He's just running nonstop every day. Adam and I were both looking at each other like, we're pathetic. We can't keep up with him. It's
Mhm.
just incredible. So that was the biggest thing I've learned so far is just he's thriving, getting chemotherapy because he's doing the proper human diet. His body's in ketosis, and Professor Seifried has worked on this for decades now. Professor Seifried told me, he's like, chemotherapy is so much more effective when the body's in ketosis. You need less medicine, and the people that are doing it are just thriving, but no one being diagnosed with cancer is told this. Jeff wasn't told this. He was told, just go. You've got months left to live. Here's some cookies when we give you your chemo, and you can just eat whatever you want. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it,
have a
kind of thing.
beer, whatever. Yeah, I heard
Right.
him saying that, and
And
yeah,
even that aside, they don't give them a plan either. It's like, give them a
right.
plan. You got to have a plan when you're diagnosed with something like that. That's I've interviewed several people now with cancer, and that was their biggest advice is you have to take things into your own two hands. You have to
Mhm.
make a plan. And
Mhm.
in many cases, you have to not listen to the doctors because they're giving you sugar and Ensure, and they're injecting you with glucose and things like that to test for the cancer. And it's so important that we fix that. That's the goal with the documentary. The reason I wanted to start it was to help people that are hopeless. Initially, it was with depression and mental health, but now it's like, what's more hopeless than being diagnosed with cancer and then not having a plan or a strategy to go forward with? So,
Yeah, yeah, I think of family members that have kind of gone before me, and it's like, oh, if I had just known about this sooner, with the cancer is one,
yeah,
dementia is my dad with dementia. And that the saddest part about that is, my mom, had I known about it, because she's doing it. So it's like she for sure would have put him on it, had we
yeah.
known, so anyway. Yeah,
It's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, it's so sad. I hear that all the time. That video I did with Professor Seifried, it's
Mm,
reaching a lot of people, but it's just heartbreaking because I get that comment. If I lost my wife 2 years ago, I just wish she would have had this as an option, would have
yes.
improved her quality of life or whatever. But one of the good things, Cristie, that I think about, like you and I, we're talking about all of these crazy improvements we're having, but
Mhm.
until recently, I didn't really think that much about the future. And
Mm-mm.
I really truly believe my odds of having dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, all these other issues, I don't see it happening. Maybe it will, you never know. But if it
Right.
does too, I'm not worried about it. Like before pre-carnivore, I was worried about stuff like that. Oh, what am I going to die from? And meanwhile, I was so unhealthy. But if it happens, it happens. I'll deal with it when it happens. But I really think I've greatly reduced the odds of those happening. So many of those diseases, cancer, heart disease, strokes, all of those things are from chronic inflammation. And
Mhm.
on carnivore diet, I have almost no inflammation. So it would just make sense that that wouldn't happen. But yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy because I was never super overweight, right? That wasn't my issue. But like I had some pain in the joints of my hand, like that's gone. I had adult like acne, like that's gone. I definitely had some signs of it, and it's just amazing, how that just kind of goes away. But like what you said, it's not like it's magic. It's just human physiology when you feed yourself, what you should be
yeah.
and what we were designed to eat.
I I learned
Yeah.
that from Dr. Barry when I had him on the stream. I showed him a picture of Alex Cannon,
Yes.
who's yeah, and he's 65, but he doesn't look like it at all. And I told
Mhm.
Dr. Barry, I'm like, look, carnivore reverses aging, and he was like, put the Dr. Barry finger up. No, Carrie. He's like, that's what all 65-year-olds would look like if they were
Yeah.
eating the proper human diet. It's not
Yep.
reversing aging. It's just that everyone else is aging faster because they're eating all these horrible foods they're not supposed to be eating.
That's it. Susan says, Cristie, I would never have thought you used to have social anxiety. You do so well expressing yourself and being a leader in the female carnivore community. Susan, I appreciate that. Thank you for inspiring me. So thank you, Susan. I appreciate always seeing you here, and you always are supportive and make nice
Susan.
comments just like this one. So thank you, Susan.
Speaking of awesome carnivore community, Susan's always got the great comments. Hey, Cristie, I have a question for you.
Oh,
So
okay. I'm ready.
one weird thing I've experienced and some others have is like, you start carnivore for one reason or another, but then you have this weird sort of awakening or carnivore epiphany, like, wow, this was so I'm seeing things in a different light. Have you had anything like that on your carnivore journey?
Yeah. So the main thing that I've noticed, and I really noticed it in September, because September is when I started sprinting. And it's amazing what'll happen when you go outside of your house at a weird time. Like for me, it was 6 a.m. And at that time of year, like now at 6 a.m., it's still almost dark. Well, I don't know, it maybe start getting a little bit light now. But at any rate, it was kind of light outside already. And it was like, there's like hot air balloons going up over there, and there's like a hawk sitting on that light post over there. And one day it was like all these birds were just scolding me because how dare I sprint by their tree. And there, a cat and the sunrise, and who even am I? Like, I'm just noticing. I mean,
Yes.
I just live in a suburb, right? We're not talking about like, but these are the things in a suburb that it's like I'm just noticing them, and then it's like I'm appreciating them. It's like, whoa, that hawk is so cool. And then it's like, oh, I wonder if it's a male or female. I wonder what it's doing up there. Like, one day I saw an owl in a palm tree. Where else but Southern California can you see an owl in a palm tree, Carrie, man? Riddle me that.
Wow.
So it's like I see things like that. Now lately I've been sprinting in the dark, and there's one particular moment right around 6:05 a.m. It happens every morning currently. There's this tree, and there's like all these birds just quietly roosting in it. But I don't know I don't know if I'm usually out there. I've usually done a couple sprints, but like they all communicate or something, and they all just take off. They just like take off out of this tree all together. And it happens every morning. So just stuff like that. The roosters, I hear roosters because there's people with backyard chickens.
Nice.
And it's just like, I appreciate that stuff.
I love
I don't
that.
think it ever would have registered before,
Yes.
ever.
I absolutely love that answer because that's similar experience for me. I've started I think it's because the brain fog's gone. I don't know, but I'm noticing things I wouldn't have known. But I love that you said that answer because I believe that's one of the most important things we need to do is reconnect with nature. We've gotten so far away from what is natural for humans, mostly with what we're eating, but also just staying indoors, not getting outside, not looking at the birds, not breathing fresh air, not getting natural sunlight in our eyes. It's just staring at phone screens all day. And it's like the further and further we get away from what's natural, the sicker we're getting. I did the same thing. It's so funny how you described it. When it was warm out before winter came, every morning I'd go out for a little walk, and I had some exercise bands on the corner of the yard, and I'd do some exercises. But it was the same thing. I'm like, oh, there's a bird up there, like this stuff. And like, there's been birds up there my whole life, but I've never paid any attention to them before now, and much
Right?
more
I've
present.
lived here 20 years. I've lived in this house for 20 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of that before.
Well,
I mean,
and I never would have gotten up that early before either. So maybe that's
yeah.
part of it, but it's a whole new world when you get up that early and the sun's
Mhm.
coming up. It's just like a whole different environment. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I definitely was up early, but I was not outside sprinting. And you know what? My neighbors can see me, Carrie. Do I care? No.
Right?
Sometimes I see people walking their dogs and I say hi.
Yeah. Carnivores don't care.
No, carnivores don't care. There I am, middle-aged lady just sprinting down my street, having the time of my life.
Well, speaking of carnivores don't care, you mentioned this earlier, but I should have told you when I listed my 5 things that I wouldn't have done. The 5th
Okay.
thing actually would have been what JT and I did, which you just mentioned, knocking on like
Oh, yeah.
100 doors of strangers and asking them if we
Yes.
could come into a stranger's house and cook them carnivore dinner. Never would have done that before. I would have rather died than done that before for sure.
So that was one of my questions. So is this going to be, so you've done 2. I've seen 2 because JT texted me the link to the first one. And I was like, what are these boys doing right now? This is awesome. So then when I saw the other one come up, I'm like, okay, I got to watch this. So you've done 2. Is this like a new series? Is this a regular thing that you guys are going to start? And how often is that going to be?
I think we're addicted to doing it. I think it's going to be a series for sure.
Okay.
It's like so far out of the comfort zone, but it was so much fun. The first one we did was just crazy because the first door we went to knock on, they said yes. People thought we were faking that. And on my children, we didn't know those people. We even had them say on
Mm,
camera, they weren't JT's cousin, never met him before. It was so, Cristie, when I was in high school, one of my first jobs was selling steaks door to door.
yeah.
I've come full
Full
circle.
circle.
I've knocked on thousands of doors. So when JT and I, when we had this crazy idea, that was in the back of my head. I'm like, dude, JT, we're gonna knock on probably 100 doors before we get someone. The first 30, they're probably not even gonna answer. Now, and when I did that, I was in high school. This day and age, fewer people are gonna. If someone knocked on my door, even as a carnivore now, I'd probably be like, quiet, let them go. I don't want to talk to those people.
Mm,
But yeah, it was crazy. The first one, and we met the coolest people. Their dad had just started carnivore. They knew who Dr. Barry was. They were awesome. It was so much fun. This last one we did, oh, it's crazy some of the things that happened on the journey. We almost didn't get someone till the last minute, but the people we got were incredible. And the gentleman, the father, he had already started sort of keto. He knew what was going on. He's like, I stopped beer and soda and I'm starting to feel better. But he just didn't know. He didn't know about bread and these other things. And as we started talking more, he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I
mm.
feel better when I don't do that. And when we left, he's like, I'm doing carnivore. And he's going to start a YouTube channel. So JT and I were like, for that alone, it's worth it. Like from what I've seen carnivore do for people, it's going to change this guy's life forever. He's got 2 young kids. But besides all of that, it was fun hanging out with JT and joking around and having a good time. So yes, we'll probably turn it into a regular thing going forward.
So John, who is saved by grace, says, "When can when can you knock on my door?"
Right? We've been getting a
All
lot of
fires
those
have
requests
lifted.
lately. I'm like, it's
Yeah,
not as
right.
fun if we just go
Cook
to
me a
someone's
steak.
house, but
I gotta cook
maybe it'd be
all my
good for a plan B,
Yeah, I gotta cook all my own steaks. Come to Southern California. We have nice weather. You'll like it
right?
here.
Well, Jeff DeProsperous too. He's like, oh, that looks like so much fun. We got to do a Canadian version. And then JT was asking
Oh,
Bill, when you get out, we'll do an Alaskan version too. So we're
yes.
just gonna go across the country knocking on doors at some point.
That is great. You have an open invitation anytime down here. Well, I would like to, if you don't mind, take a couple of questions just because I think there's a few like newer people to carnivore too in
Yeah,
here. So I
absolutely.
just want to make sure. So I think a lot of people were trying to help Terry out, and I apologize, Terry. I didn't, there's a lot of comments, so I didn't read everything. But asking, do you all exercise while doing carnivore? So I think maybe Terry came in a little bit after we talked about this. So Carrie, do you want to just touch on that real fast?
Yes, love this question too. I didn't
Mhm.
exercise at all until I lost the weight. And this was always a big pet peeve of mine because I've yo-yo dieted for years. I'm down 100 pounds since my heaviest. I lost most of that on carnivore, a little bit on keto, but on the keto, it was up and down so many times. But over the years, I'd always get that from people. Well, if you want to lose weight, exercise. I think that's a huge myth. I think it's almost all nutrition. So I lost all of my weight on carnivore, not exercising. Once I lost that weight, all of a sudden I had energy and then I started exercising. I really believe before this, when I was on the standard American diet, like I said before, I was in this intoxicated brain fog. I was impaired. And to ask
Mhm.
someone impaired to exercise, it's like asking someone with pneumonia or the flu, oh, just go walk and exercise or go jog. You don't want to do it. So I never exercised while doing carnivore until I got down to my goal weight. Now I do more than I have my entire life, not because I feel forced to, just because I have excess energy and it feels good doing it and getting out in nature and things like that.
Yeah. Similar to you, although I didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but it was like I was on carnivore. So I was keto from February to June, carnivore from June until about, I mean, I've been carnivore till now, but I mean, it was about September that all of a sudden I was like, all this energy and like, I got to do something. And that's when I watched Dr. Sean O'Mara, saw the whole sprinting protocol, started sprinting, and then that just kind of snowballed from there. So
Yeah.
currently I'm doing sprinting and some weight training.
It seems
But
like a lot of carnivores have to exercise or they won't sleep because as carnivores, we have so much energy, which is a good thing.
so much energy. And now I enjoy it. So previous times in my life when I have tried to exercise, because to Carrie's point, like I got to do this so I can like lose some weight, but I hated it. I didn't have the energy for it. I didn't want to do it. I dragged myself there. And then eventually I'd be like, I'm not doing this. And I would just quit. Now it's like I wake up, it's like wake up a little bit and it's like, all right, let's go. I got sprints today. I got, today was upper body day. So today I had upper body day and sprints. And then I went to school, like I said, and ran and walked with the kids, at lunchtime, because it's not a problem, right? I have energy to burn. I actually enjoy it. It doesn't seem so much like a chore, the way that it used to. But I think eventually your body, when your body heals enough, like it will tell you, I think, and you'll
Yes.
know, you'll
Yep.
feel it. Okay, so there are a few others. So again, from Terry, so what is beef tallow? And I think somebody answered this, but beef tallow is just like the fat from beef. So like rendered fat from beef. I personally purchased mine. So Chicago Packing Company on Amazon. It comes in a black container. It is great. It's whipped tallow. It's delicious. It's easy. I am not a do-it-yourself kind of girl. I'm not the homesteader. That's that guy over there across from me.
Hey, I buy it on Amazon too.
See,
Truth be told.
okay. So I'm not the only one.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. So does carnivore help with being better at math? I'm a math teacher, Susan Hoffman. So yes, I could testify to that. I'm pretty good at math. I mean, I teach fifth grade. Okay. I'm pretty good at fifth grade math. But I used to have to work really hard to like be motivated, to stay present, to like think my way through the lesson. Not that I was teaching it incorrectly or something, but now it's like, it just kind of it just flows naturally to me. And I don't have to, if there's a complicated problem, other teachers will come to me and say, can you help me with this one? Stuff like that. So I don't know if it makes you better at math, but it makes math maybe easier to do because your brain is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. I had a similar, this was kind of a good test maybe. I've watched Jeopardy for years and years and years. I mentioned this on my 30-day video. While I got deeper into carnivore, it seemed like I was just killing it on Jeopardy. And people are like, how's that possible? You're faking. I think there's stuff in your brain that sometimes it's hard to retrieve when you have that brain fog. And it seems like things are firing a lot better when you're putting the proper fuel in. So yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people too. Joe Rogan gave a big testimony about reading and comprehension and cognitive ability just seems drastically, noticeably improved when you're putting the proper fuel in your body.
Yeah, so my 15-year-old son is a freshman in high school, and he has ADHD and some sensory integration processing things. And so he started 4 days ago on the Proper Human Diet. I'm not going to say that it's carnivore, but it's very heavily meat based. He still does some whole milk. I did switch him to whole milk. And I make JT's pizza pockets, but I do put a little scoop of like the Raos, which I think a lot of people on keto will use that, marinara sauce.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's cheese, pepperoni. He's not going to be eating a lot of veg, but I figured to switch him to something like that with it's mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, sausage, and then like a tablespoon of that sauce. So much better than a Hot Pocket, you guys.
Yes. Oh, 100 times better. Yeah.
So I'm like 1,000,000% okay with that. So, but other than that, like tonight for dinner, he's having a leftover chicken thigh and a piece of pork rib. The other night it was picanha. He will eat all kinds of, he likes like meatloaf. I'll make a meatloaf. So it's mostly meat. Breakfast is like eggs and sausage now. Whereas before this, he was eating, oatmeal. So I am documenting this on my channel, although he is camera shy, but he's reporting to me and I'm showing
so
what
cool.
he eats, and I'm kind of giving like little updates and things like that.
Good job. That is so cool. Hey, it's shout out Ellie, because she's giving me some good advice too. I have teenagers as well. It's like you said, Cristie, it can be really hard. They're driving around, they have their own money sort of thing. But the good thing is what you're doing is probably 100 times better than what most people are doing. And he's learning. That's the thing with my girls too. I'm so happy about is, God forbid, if they ever get to just a deep, dark, hopeless place, they have this as a tool. You can't unring the bell once you see this and know what it does. So, and most of my daughters have tried it. Emma's still carnivore. My older daughter Lily was carnivore for a long time, and then she tried keto and she fell off, and now she's back on. So they have it as a tool. But yeah, that's so cool. Jeff's son, I believe he's 15 as well, 15 and 13. They're both mostly carnivore. His older son's carnivore. The other one's mostly carnivore keto. They're just thriving with their schoolwork and with the sports they're doing. They're absolutely thriving.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that within the 30 days, that he notices a positive difference, because he's 15, he's metabolically healthy, he's thin, he's not, he's not suffering the negative effects yet. But I'm hoping that if he sees a positive change with his ability to like focus or just anything, I don't care what, I'll grasp at straws, like, so that he will continue.
Right.
But it's been a process. I've been working on him. He's not, like you said, you can't just put a plate. I mean, you could put a plate of food in front of him, but like the school lunches are all free, so he could just get that whenever he wants. He has access to things. He has friends who drive. He has his brother drive. You know what I'm saying? So his dad has all kinds of standard American food in the house, if he wanted to just go grab it. So
Right.
To get this commitment from him for 30 days was just huge. And now I'm like really, really hoping that, he sees some kind of positive benefit out of it so that he'll continue on with me.
Nice.
With it. So, okay. So I had a few more. So Whitney wants to know if Dante is going to be in the documentary for No Freedom.
100%. I should be careful saying that. I did ask him a long time ago. He was one of the first people on my channel.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, I really want to capture his story. That was the whole reason I started Carnivore, was from Dante. And shout out Dante for No Freedom. My goodness. I talked to so many people that have started Carnivore, and the number of people that say they saw Dante's video and then they watched Dr. Barry. That's like the power combination there. It's happened thousands of people have told me about it hundreds of times. It's had to have happened thousands of times, changed so many people's lives. So yes, 100%.
Yeah, I sort of accidentally went carnivore because I was too lazy to cook the broccoli. Just give me more ribeye instead. And then I was like, wait, I'm kind of just eating meat. And then it was like, oh, well, Dr. Barry, because I had watched all of his keto stuff. And I was like, wait, there's a thing called carnivore. I guess I'm that. So then I went and watched his whole, playlist. And then I found, Dr. Chafee, all the other doctors that, of course, you mentioned earlier from this community. So, and that when I accidentally went carnivore, that's when all the other benefits besides the weight loss started occurring. So I'm so glad, that I did that. It was like meant to be for me or something, because it wasn't an intentional decision at all.
Wow.
My son is wanting to ask me something. The 15-year-old, it's probably about the meat that he needs to be eating. I'm on a live stream. What do you need, child?
It is about the meat. I don't know where it is and I don't know how to heat it.
Okay. It's in the fridge in a white container. Put it in the microwave for just like 3 minutes, or put it in the toaster oven. Okay. 3 minutes on like a low power so it doesn't get crispy. Yeah. Okay, sorry. He like just came home from school. He stays after for like tutoring or hanging out or whatever. And he's like, how do I heat up my meat, Mom?
Hey, that's a great question.
Exactly. Okay, so yeah, ketogenic Susan is not really a question, but what diabetes? Diabetes doesn't exist in the carnivore community. My A1C 12.6 to what 4.5. Ketogenic Susan, that is better than mine because mine was 4.8. So you beat me. Good job.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Before starting carnivore, I didn't know diabetes was reversible. I have so many family members, extended family members that have type 2 diabetes. I have one in particular that lost half of his foot, amputated. And I was like, you can't reverse that kind of, no, you can easily reverse it. Dr. Barry's done a couple of videos on reversing type 2 diabetes, and the comments, oh my goodness, thousands of people like, Dr. Barry, you saved my life. Dr. Barry, my A1C went from this to this. It's just amazing. It's so sad. There's people out there that would rather eat birthday cake than have a foot. But I literally have someone in my family like that. They're like, I could never do what you're doing while they're eating birthday cake and having their foot amputated. It's just insane.
Yes, my dad had gotten type 2 diabetes as well, and he never had any because he got it later in life. But it was like, there wasn't any, well, how do I fix it? You know what I mean? Like there was no, it was just, well, here's what you got to do. But it was medicine, I believe. It wasn't anything really diet other than, eat whole grains or something,
Right.
Brett would like you to know that because I think you said you're going to go be filming Dr. Barry. So there is a meetup in Nashville on Sunday, February 11th. So if you're going to be there on February 11th, Carnivore Backwoods, Brett, who's your carnivore, my metamorphosis, we'll all be there.
Oh, I wish. Wait, let me just double check before I say that. No, we're not going to be there then. We're going to be there 6th, 7th, 8th. And then I'm coming back.
So just a little bit before. I heard you're going to be at KetoCon in Austin. Guess who else will be at KetoCon in Austin?
Are you going to be there?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
So
We're going to have
excited
to
to
meet
see
up
you.
for sure. There's a
Yes,
bunch of folks coming down. Todd Bachnis is going to be there.
I know.
Lindy, Adam's
Lindy, I
coming.
know.
Yeah, we got
Lindy
to,
was the reason I had to be there. I'm like, if she can fly from Australia, like
right?
I can fly from California, and I
Well,
wanted to meet her in person because I interviewed her. I mean, what a story.
she's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I had her, I've interviewed her a couple times, but we did a 10-hour live stream, and that was her first time ever being on a live stream, which she told me afterwards. I didn't even know that, but I was calling her then. I was like, you should be called Legendary Lindy. That's just, her story is incredible. But when
Yeah.
we're down in KetoCon too, we're renting an Airbnb to film in. So we're going to be filming for the documentary around that time. Dr. Chafee's going to be coming over so we can film him, which will save us a trip all the way out to Australia by Lindy. So looking forward to that. That's, yeah, it's gonna be really fun.
That's super cool.
We're
Yeah.
trying to shout out Carnivore Brothers too. Rhett and Ashley,
Yes.
they're helping me out. We're trying to set up some sort of meetup as well. Obviously, we're all going to meet at KetoCon, but something
Mhm.
outside of KetoCon, maybe a little get together would be fun.
That would be fun. Are the brothers going to be at KetoCon too? Because I know them, but I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah,
So
well,
I'm
I know for sure Ashley is. I'm not
Okay,
sure on
okay.
Rhett, but I think so.
Okay. Yeah, they're funny because they'll come in and they'll chat to me, but they share a channel, so it'll just say Carnivore Brothers,
Yeah.
and they won't identify. I'm like, you know better than to not tell me, is this
Right.
Rhett or is this Ashley?
Shout
yeah,
out
they're
Carnivore Brothers too. Those guys
Yeah.
are amazing.
Shout out to
They
their
they
channel.
came out when we did a Chicago meetup. It was the only meetup I've done when we filmed Dr. Hampton, and they flew out. I was like, you guys
Yes.
flew all the way here. You're crazy. Like, what are you
Yes.
doing? They're
Yes.
so nice, so awesome.
Yes,
Their
we were
dad's
doing
doing
a plank
carnivore too.
challenge. They and I did a plank challenge that month, and so they were planking like in the hotel where you guys
Nice.
were. Yeah. They were filming it and stuff. It was fun. Okay, so Miguel Diaz says, so I mentioned to a friend who is a doctor of infectious diseases. He mentioned I need to be careful because of the nitrates released in red meat. Can you touch on that? I believe I've heard Dr. Barry talk about how celery has more nitrates in it than like bacon or anything. And bacon
Yes.
is a processed meat. So that's what I know about that. Do you know anything about that, Carrie?
You stole it right out of my. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. I heard Dr. Barry say the same thing. I think I would recommend that. I don't want to just push you off, but obviously I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure Dr.
Right.
Barry's done one or two really good videos on that whole
Mhm.
topic about nitrates and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So Miguel, if you're still here, I know you asked this a little while ago, but if you're still here, check out what Dr. Barry, because he is a doctor. We are not. Linda's asking for some advice. So I've been doing carnivore for 27 days, have lost 7 kilograms, but my energy levels are still low. I am looking forward to my energy levels rose, but rising, whatever. How long before this will happen? Love this lifestyle.
Good question. So 27 days, congratulations.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're eating. I would be very careful because it's usually, are you getting enough fat? That's usually the big question. Sometimes it could also be the electrolytes. And then it would just be, what are you eating exactly? Because some people will start carnivore with good intentions, but maybe they'll still keep some things in, or they'll have artificial sweeteners or things like that that could mess them up. But usually it's the fat. And we had Dr. Georgia Eid on and Dr. Hampton and Dr. Chafee last night. We did this big live stream, and someone asked a similar question. Someone was mentioning like, hey, when I get a lot of fat, I feel so much better. Why is that? And that's the biggest mistake I see so many people that are starting on carnivore. So you're on day 27. They don't get enough fat. You have to get more than you would think, more than you can wrap your brain around maybe. So lots of ribeyes with a lot of fat. And if you're not doing that, I always supplement and have butter. Sometimes I'll eat like a strip steak or something, and I'll almost have like a little pat of butter with almost every single bite of steak. It's way more fat than anyone would imagine, but I feel so much better doing that. So I would check into that.
And I would advise that for me at least, because like I said, I'm not a medical professional, but for me, the further I got in, the more my body will talk to me. So sometimes I just eat the ribeye, just the ribeye. And then other times, even with the ribeye, I'll put some butter with it. And like Carrie said, dip it in there. It's like my body will tell me. If I want that ribeye with more butter, I'm like, ooh, butter. And if not, I'm like, butter, and so it will start to tell you. But yeah, if you're eating pretty strict carnivore, but too low in fat, when you're in ketosis, your body's running on fat. So if you're not giving it enough fat, you're literally out of gas. and electrolytes. So I didn't start taking electrolytes in the beginning at all. Even when I was keto, I didn't really know about them. I didn't need them. After a little bit on carnivore, I started getting like some muscle cramps and headaches. So now I do electrolytes, and that does tend to help. So as
Yep.
Carrie mentioned, so
Yeah, the electrolytes too. I know I mentioned quickly, but when I was doing fasting, you'd get tired and you get headaches. And my buddy Jeff DeProsperous was like, take some of the electrolytes or just the Redmond salt, put it in like a little shot of water, and it's just like ocean water. Just get it over with. And it's
mhm.
amazing how the energy comes back. So it could be you're not getting enough salt or electrolytes as well.
Yeah. Okay. So I love this question. So I'm going to answer this as a woman, but I'm going to read the
Okay.
question first. So how much do men eat here steak wise? I ate 1.45 pounds a couple days ago and was still hungry. Okay. So straight chillaxin, let me tell you, I am a woman. I weigh about 130 pounds. I'm 5'6". Notice how I don't care saying that in front of however many 232 people, Carrie, man. Anyways, it's fine. So the other day I had jury duty. That was really fun. It was 9 hours of sitting in jury duty. And before I left my house, I ate, I didn't eat enough eggs because I ate 3 eggs with, I don't know, maybe 3 slices of bacon before I left, but that was like at 6 a.m. And about 10:30, I was like, I'm hungry. And then it's like, oh, I'm really hungry. And then I didn't bring anything. I didn't bring purse bacon or beef jerky. And of course, all they have is like snack machines with, candy and stuff. I didn't even go look. And so I was waiting for like that hour and a half. And I found a McDonald's and I ordered 5. Yes, I said 5 quarter-pound burger patties. So that is not 1.45 pounds, okay, but 5 quarter-pound burger patties, and I ate all 5. And the McDonald's workers gave me 2 forks because they thought no one person. I'm like, cool, 1 for each hand. No, not really. But yeah, I ate them all. I felt great. I felt satiated. I wasn't overstuffed, and that was the right amount of meat for me at that time on that day. Generally, I will put down about 1 pound to 1.25 pounds of ribeye if I'm doing ribeye. Okay, but that's me. Carrie, what about you?
Yeah, I'm usually around 1.5 to 2 pounds or so. I don't measure anything though, so it's always hard to say. But yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
pretty close. A lot of days lately, I have my go-to is scrambled eggs and ground beef, and then some Kerrygold butter. I'll have that, and then for my second meal, it'll usually be a steak or some burger patties. So, but it's probably right around 2 pounds. I love carnivore because I don't have to measure out. It's so funny you say 1.45 pounds. I don't measure anything out like that at all. I just
Not
eat.
like that.
Yeah, I'm full and I'm done. And if like for you, if I was still hungry, I would look at the fat content.
Mhm.
You probably needed to get a little bit more fat in there, maybe to help make you feel a little bit more full.
Yeah. That is satiating. On a day that I sprint, I for sure want breakfast. Like it just makes me hungry about an hour after I sprint. I'm like, okay, I need eggs now, or something. So just depends too, maybe on your activity level that it matters for me. I know. So I have another new channel member, Carrie, man. This is so
Nice.
exciting.
It's
This is Fred.
awesome.
I mentioned him earlier and a super chat that went along with that. So thank you so much. I do appreciate you. And now I'm not caught up in the comments at all because I had starred a bunch and I went through all of those, but now there's a whole bunch of new ones. Did you have any more questions? I know you said you had some questions for me today.
Yeah. Well, let me see. You answered my first one.
Mm-hmm.
What has it been like, I guess, in your professional life as a teacher or with your friends and family? Are they like, Cristie, you're crazy. You can't just eat meat?
Okay, so my professional life as a teacher, I have some very supportive colleagues. If you're talking about how the people around me have reacted. So I have my teacher that I partner with, normally a 5th grade teacher, we would teach all the subjects, but I partnered with another teacher. So I teach math and science for both of our classes, and she teaches ELA and social studies. So we're very close. She's keto. And when I got my proper human diet, education through YouTube, I really taught her how to read labels better. And she dropped like 40 more pounds after that, or
Wow.
20 more. I don't know. I think she dropped a total of like 70 pounds. I think it was like the last 40 or 20, I don't know, after that. So that was really awesome. she's really supportive. It's really easy to like eat lunch with her because we eat very similar things, right? We're always bringing hard-boiled eggs or stuff like that. Salami and cheese, she'll do a lot. I'll do a can of salmon. So it's really easy to have. It's nice to have somebody like that to eat with. And then we both look at all the salads that other people are eating going, Dad, don't be eating that.
Right.
And you feel bad because you're like, they're not going to be full and they're probably doing it to try to be healthy. I think a lot of people do know I'm a carnivore. So this was super cool. So at Christmas time, some people will buy, or make treats and like teachers have like a box, where our little mail and stuff goes. And so they'll put that in our box. Well, for me, it's one of the aides did that, one of the teacher's aides. And so she was like putting treats, but in my box was like this little bag of beef jerky instead of whatever treat. And she wrote on there for a carnivore.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, now come on, that is great. She knew I was probably just going to throw away that, whatever that sugary thing was that she was giving everybody else. But yeah, the fact that she went out of her way to, to do that for me was super cool. I even have another teacher that I do eat lunch with who is a vegetarian. And at first I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking about, because I had just started my channel, right? Oh, I'm talking about meat, I'm sorry. And she was like, you talk about meat all you want. And so now I do. And it's kind of cool to see how we can get along. Like, it's fine.
That's awesome.
She does her thing, I do my thing, and it's fine. So as far as that goes, it's great. My students know that I eat meat. I do explain to them why I do that. I can't instruct them, to like eat only meat, but I do teach them to question things. So the school food is 100% horrible. If you've ever watched any of the videos where Dr. Berry talks about that, he is not kidding. They literally serve them Lucky Charms and Pop-Tarts, name brand, a Pillsbury, whatever, name brand is served for breakfast, because we do serve a breakfast and a lunch every day. And twice a month we serve breakfast for lunch. So sometimes they have a Pop-Tart in the morning and a chocolate whatever at lunch. And then I get to try to teach them math and science. So one day we were walking out to breakfast and I said, I forget exactly what I said because it was maybe 6 weeks ago now, but I said, what do you think they're going to give you today for breakfast? A bunch of sugar? And they're like, what? And I said, yeah. What are they giving you? A bunch of sugar? And they're like, I think it's cereal. And I said, let's go rate the ingredients on the cereal.
Yeah.
So we went down the list and it was like, whole grain, whatever. And then sugar was like the next ingredient. And then on that list was like 3 more kinds of sugar after that. And so
vegetable oil.
Yeah, right. So then I explained how, okay, that wheat part is just going to turn into sugar. And then this straight up is sugar. And so is this and this. And
right.
Like, wow. Now, did they go and eat that cereal? Probably.
Right.
But at least that, and so, so we do talk about it, to some extent. They know what I eat. I don't know. Somebody asked me today if I've ever had some one of my students, waffle cone, ice cream, something. I said, what do I eat? And they kind of went like that. And then, and then somebody behind them said, meat. She eats meat. I said, yep, I eat meat. They were like, oh. So, they know if they, if they bring something up about doing some activity, I'll make sure to tell them I have energy because of the meat that I'm eating. There's one little boy in my class who like does his own barbecuing. And he's like, I had a ribeye. And I'm like, oh, I'm jealous. I'm having chuck eye tonight. He's like, I'm going to have that tomorrow.
That's cool.
So he's like this cool little 10-year-old that's probably a carnivore in the making, His mom
Nice.
gets mad because he eats all the steaks.
That's so cool. It's great you have people supporting you. It's kind of cool you have someone that's vegetarian. But the interesting thing with that is it's like you're pretty much similar in many ways in that you're not eating the standard American diet and all the junk. You're just on the opposite ends of the spectrum. It's so sad to me. This is one of the things that really fires me up is the kids, getting them hooked on sugar from a young age, like in school, like you mentioned, or just JT and I, when we were doing this little thing for strangers, we were at the grocery store going down the aisle, the cereal aisle, and all these cartoon characters all over the cereal boxes. There was one, JT and I were looking at Lucky Charms, and JT was joking like he does. He's like, how lucky are you going to be if you eat this and you get sick to your stomach or get hooked on sugar or whatever? And then just like you said, we looked at the ingredients. It's just sugar, seed oil, vegetable oil. It's such a shame. I really hope we can change that. because it's happening more. Like it happened for me too when I was young. I did that, but it's getting worse. It's more and more. And to get kids hooked on sugar from such a young age, it's just yeah, lifelong sugar consumers. There's so much money to be made if they are. It's just so wrong. So many downstream effects.
Yeah, and it's just so interwoven into everything now. You know, the school's just giving it to them, and you know, it's a free meal. They get a free breakfast and lunch every day. And I do teach in a, you know, economically disadvantaged school, and so sometimes, you know, that might be the only meals they're going to get that day,
Mm,
or they're going to go home and the food isn't going to be much better.
right.
And so, you know, I just do the best I can with what I have and kind of what I'm allowed to say. I kind of say as much. I make sure that talk is like, we don't do it during class time, but like on our way out to recess or
Right.
on our way out to the gate at the end of the day or things like that, you know.
It's so cool you're doing that. My buddy Jeff DeProsperous had similar issues. He's coaching people still now, even with everything he's going through. He's still coaching. He volunteers and he coaches. And he's like, yeah,
Mm.
I just we try to explain, just like you. We're just trying to explain the science. And okay, you know that's sugar and that's that, but yeah, he can't do much other than that. People get upset if you go any further than that kind of thing.
Yeah, if I gave dietary advice and a kid went home and said that to their parents, like for sure somebody's getting an angry phone call. And it's probably not going to be me because these days everybody goes either to the principal or straight to the district office
Right.
anymore when they, you know, if they're upset by something. So that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, I just have to be careful. Yes, less junk, more health. School food is atrocious. It's atrocious. I looked it up, like how many carbs a kid would get in a, like those two meals if it's like breakfast. I forget what it is now, but it was well over 100 and something.
Mm,
And there was hardly any protein. The one thing that was protein, because it was like the breakfast for lunch, it had like a small 3-ounce sausage patty. That was the only protein. What if the kid just throws that away?
yeah.
You know, because it was like a sandwich, right? So it was like mostly bread, like
Mm,
a little tiny piece of sausage. It was very scant, you know, on that protein. But yeah, it's going to be really an uphill battle. I don't know, but I can only do what I can do with the resources that I have and the sphere of influence, right, that I'm
yep.
in.
Hey, you're
I'm just
doing it. Your YouTube channel, that's going to inspire people and it's spreading. That's the good thing. Your mom's doing it. My mom's doing it. It's like that
Yeah.
ripple effect really starts spreading things.
Yeah, I think so too. So yes, Thelma, I wish I'd never given my kids sugar too. Like I'm very thankful for my friends in this space like Ellie, who've basically been feeding their kids carnivore since, you know, birth or 1 or 2 years old. JT, kind of the same thing. You know, my kids are older. This is when I discovered it, but I'm just doing, you know, the best I can with them. And I've got one. Now I got to get the other one, the one
Right.
that's a little older, right? But yeah, we're just gonna keep at it. So yeah, I work at a daycare, and so many of our kids come in with little Debbie cakes or brownies or donuts for breakfast. Yes, 100%. At my school, it's Takis, those chips, like the
Oh,
chips with all the red dye and the spicy. That's
yes.
they'll bring up just a bag of those, and that's what the and Gatorade. You know,
It's like the
so
two most unnatural things,
right? Look at all that color, the blue Gatorade or whatever, and the
right?
red. I'm like, that is not food. There was one year where I taught summer school. Do not ask me what I was thinking. I will not be doing that again. But yeah, there was, you know, if you're going to summer school, at least the particular year that I taught it, you know, it was for kids who needed extra help. You're there because you're already academically struggling. And there was a girl in, I think about 3rd grade at that time, and she came and her snack was like a king size Snickers bar. Like
Mm,
that's what her mom sent her for, like, and I'm like, okay. And even then, that was years ago. That was before keto, before carnivore. We're talking years ago. And I was like, that is what your mom sent you. Like you're here because you're having academic difficulties, and that's the food that she
mm.
gave you to have for to fuel your brain. Just wow. Well, I am not seeing any more questions. I think we got to them, and we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, you guys.
Nice.
I could talk forever about this, but I want to respect everybody's time. So, unless you have anything else to say, I think I got through all my questions, except maybe, is there anything coming up next on your channel? Like anything you want to shout out, what you're doing?
Oh, good question. Well, I'm hoping to have some behind the scenes stuff and maybe some stuff for members, but also for the general public on the road trip down to film Dr. Barry. Some stuff with Adam, so that should be fun. Other than that, once we're done with Dr. Barry, we're putting together this thing. It's called we're calling it the Torch. It's a prototype. It's like the 10-minute version of the documentary that we're going to share with Angel Studios and share with the world. So we'll be able to share some of the stuff I was talking about, like the Maggie footage and the Bill footage and Jeff DeProsperous with the world. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, other than that, the only other thing is that video JT and I did. I think that was today or yesterday. I made that one live. So if anyone's interested in watching that one, it's over on my channel. Part of it's on my channel, part of it's on JT's channel. So check that out. I think you guys will like it.
Okay,
It's a lot of fun.
I think JT already had the one on his channel, but the one on your channel has different like content.
Yeah, so on my channel, it has the rejection and the lead up and some crazy stuff. We met this one guy that came outside and played a guitar for us. And he looked like a young Bill Knott. And it was so crazy because on the side of his garage, he had the words "be kind" written, which is what Bill ends every single one of his videos with. And we started the video that day, JT and I did. I said, Carrie and JT here in the car, we're going to go be kind to people. And then we just happened to find this kid that had it written on the side of his garage. It was crazy. And he looked like a young Bill Knott. So that's in my video, knocking on a bunch of doors. We went to a fire department.
Okay.
This was crazy, Cristie. I knocked on the door of a fire department because we were getting desperate. Like maybe we could cook dinner for some firemen.
Come on.
Yeah. I'm like police, firefighters, first responders, anyone. I'd love to do that. They let us in. Well, they weren't going to let us in. We knocked and I said, we'll make you steak dinner if anyone here's hungry. And the guy's like, oh, I don't know. And then off in the corner, this kid was like, I know him. And then he said it again. I know him. And then the kid came out and he showed us the phone and he was subscribed to HomesteadHow.
No way.
He watched the video I did. I did a video like the morning of that with Maria Emmerich. And it was about
I saw
carnivore testimonies you can't deny or something. The kid subscribed. He like showed, I'm like, you're lying. And he showed me on the phone. He was subscribed to the channel. Anyways, the kid got us in. He gave us a whole tour of this fire department. And then we were ready to go upstairs and cook dinner for them, but they were waxing the floor. And they're like, you'd have to come back a couple hours later. Anyhow, it didn't work out, but yeah, it's still it's so much fun. The video is a lot of fun. So that part is on my channel. And then when we eventually find someone, we hand it off and the rest is on JT's channel. So it's kind of like a two-parter.
Yeah,
JT has it when we actually went and cooked for him kind of thing.
Yeah. I watched that, I think this morning when I was doing my upper body workout today. Well, on my channel, I just gave 5 memberships away. So if you didn't see that, if you were mainly watching from Carrie's, you clearly had mine running too, because Rick, the 40-year carnivore, Duckman himself, Quack Rick, you got a membership to my channel. Deb Olson, Ellie, that I already said, and Nicole, a former fat girl, her channel is fantastic. And everyone's favorite grandma, say it, Carrie, you know who everyone's favorite grandma is?
Robin Heron?
Robin Heron, the carnivorous grandma. You know that because she really is everyone's favorite grandma.
She's awesome.
So yeah, those are my 5 new members. And Ellie and I, we don't know if it's possible, but she just got channel memberships too. And she has a couple members too. And we're going to try to do like a combined, like, cause our channels are small. So we're going to try to see if we can do like a channel member only live, but if we can combine it with both our channels, I'm not sure if it's possible.
That's really cool.
Be looking for that because it's just 2/3 of the lionesses, you guys.
Nice.
So that's what's coming up for me soon, as well as I'm interviewing Adam tomorrow, Carrie.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
You might know him.
Carnivore Today. Shout out to Adam. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's going to Dr. Barry with me. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah, the only other thing I want to mention quick, if you're watching from my channel, subscribe to Cristie's channel, Meeting Wellness. There's a link in the description below. Sign up, become a member. I love what you're doing. I really appreciate you. This has been great.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I hope we can do it again soon. And this will be great. We have another new member here. So BK Belgian Carnivore became a YouTube member.
Awesome.
Super cool. Thank you. All right, everybody. This has been fun. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.